Oh, shit. I've been meaning to build something to organize my clamps. They're always in the way, and now that I got rid of that ugly shelf, the time is now. I'm going to use some of the scrap plywood that I've got laying around and also leverage this French cleat that's already secured to the wall. I already designed and made this little prototype, and it works. It hangs up on the French cleat system, but the problem with this one specifically is that the spacing is a little bit too wide, and the clamp can fall out pretty easily. So I have a wide variety of different clamps and styles and different brands and manufacturers, and I don't want to be locked into setting a specific width for each one of these that I build. I have an idea to make it a little bit more customizable, so let's go build it. This project isn't fancy by any means. It's literally made from plywood that wasn't good enough to make it to the project that it was originally purchased for. So I'm sorry you couldn't be a cabinet or a coffee table or another piece of furniture that gets to live comfortably inside of a house. Nope. You're gonna live in my dusty workshop, you're gonna hold clamps, and you're going to like it. Anyways, back to the project. I pulled out my crosscut sled and brought some 3/4 inch plywood down to 1.5 inches wide and 6 inches long. These are the backer pieces, the pieces that will hang from the French cleat and also hold the angled piece that will hold the clamps. The foundation of the project, if you will. Next up, I started working on those triangular-ish pieces that will hold the clamps, and to do this I'm going to cut 6 rectangles 6 inches by 6.5 inches, and then I can make an angled cut down the middle to end up with an identical pair. There are a few different ways that you can go about making that angled cut, but what I ended up doing was taking a piece of plywood and adjusted my table saw fence so it removed just a little bit of material from one of the sides, and then with the fence locked in place, I can align my little rectangles to the edge of that plywood so I know exactly where the blade will cut. And then I attached some more plywood to that plywood to lock the rectangles into position, and then used a toggle clamp to hold it down while I ran it through the table saw. It takes a little bit of time to set up, but definitely worth it for making repeatable cuts. Okay, that's enough. The last thing that we need to cut is a little piece that goes on the back with a 45-degree angle that will lock into the French cleat on the wall. Now you can start to see these things taking shape. Now my next step is that I need to attach this piece to this piece. And there's a few different ways that you can go about doing that. You could use a pocket hole jig. You could drive some screws in from the back. Or you could do what I'm going to do and use dowels. So this little nifty contraption is called a dowel max. It looks intimidating, but after a quick flip through the manual, it's a pretty straightforward jig. So I first drilled out a few holes in the center of the 1.5 inch strip pieces, and then after that I drilled some corresponding holes in the shark fins. I mean the angled clamp holder thingies. And then I unnecessarily constructed this little jig to help me sand some of the pieces. It helped keep everything in place while I sanded it down, but it probably wasn't worth the time that it took to make it. And then I made another jig to help keep everything aligned while I secured the French cleat piece to the strip. How many jigs are we at now? 3? And then finally the last step is to add some glue, the dowels, and then attach the 2 pieces together. This was a pretty straightforward and simple project, but I hope it gave you an idea of something that you can do in your shop to help with some organization. Anyways, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are not already, leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next one.